Welcome to Unity, let's go! My first project, Scene View Navigation. Now say we want to actually zoom through the level. Just hold the right mouse button and we can see the eye icon pop up, but with a little Tetris piece representative of the WASD keys. And this will create a sort of first-person player effect. If we hit WASD, holding Shift will accelerate us faster. And hitting Q and E will raise us up and down, all while holding the right mouse button. We can see that the longer we hold any of the buttons, we begin to accelerate faster and faster. We can adjust this by going up here, and this is our scene view camera settings. And we can see that we have camera acceleration on. Now if we hold right mouse button, we have a consistent speed the entire time. With that, let's get introduced to this upper right hand side of the scene view. Here we have the world gizmo, and this will allow us to snap to world axes, the Z, Y, what is going from isometric view to orthographic view, which has no perspective, and we can see a representation of that in ISO, and if we click on ISO, it'll switch us back to perspective, and that same toggle can happen from the center of the gizmo. We can lock the view of the camera. And sometimes if you're trying to use Alt and left mouse button to rotate around and it won't let you do that, it's because this is grayed out and it's been locked. So we can unlock it here. These two lines mean that we can move the manipulator, but I'm generally used to it being up here in the corner. Now let's get into these tools. This drop down allows you to see the scene view in different shading modes. The first is shaded, then it's wireframe. This will give you an idea of how poly heavy. So each one of these lines create a polygon. If it's all really filled out, then that means you have a lot of polygons in your scene. Shaded wireframe is always nice. Anything down here below is a little bit more advanced, so we won't go into those. 2D allows you to go into a 2D perspective, so you can easily develop in 2D or 3D. Here, this will turn the virtual lighting on and off. Say you have a post-processing effect that's happening within the editor view, then you can always turn it off to ease the burden on your CPU. Here we have a toggle audio on and off, which I'm not exactly sure what this is doing since this is scene view. There in the game view is a mute audio on and off. Let's actually see if we turn it on. Does that represent in the scene view? Yeah, so this is doing something. I'm not actually sure what it's doing. That looks a little new for this version of Unity. These are layers. I don't actually use this that often, but you can turn layers on and off. Number of hidden objects, I haven't really used this. Then we have the scene camera, which adjusts our field of view, isometric view, and then go into a perspective view. And you'll want to make sure to remember what that is because you can't undo that. Dynamic clipping allows you to adjust what is being rendered in the scene view camera. So as we get closer to objects, we can see here that the clipping plane has started to stop rendering that object, and it's because we're so close to it. We can get an idea of clipping planes when we go to the virtual camera. So within the hierarchy view, we can select objects and also hit find to zoom in on them. And this portion is the near clipping plane. And as we zoom out, this is our far clipping plane. So if we want to enable it and disable it, for our scene view, we would use the dynamic clipping. So here, let's adjust our near clipping plane. And let's adjust our far clipping plane. It's probably going to be closer to like 50. We can see that it stops rendering after a certain distance. And back into navigation, camera easing, camera acceleration, and camera speed. Those can all be adjusted here. And the final is Gizmos. So anytime we want to see things, say like the camera or the light over here, we want to have Gizmos on. We can always turn them off because they can sometimes become visually overwhelming. But if you don't see them and you want to, then go ahead and enable Gizmos. You can specify the size of the gizmo. Play around with these, so you can specify which gizmos you want to see when they're on and turn some off if you don't want to see them. That should do it for the scene view navigation. Hope it was helpful, and I'll check you later. If you like this content and would like to see more, consider supporting us on Patreon or one of these supported platforms.